Mm.
What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you all so much for joining us, myself and Dustin, for this being our review for 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days. This is season 8 and episode 3. When I was creating the link for the show, I thought it was episode 4, but it's only
Mhm.
episode 3. But hey, that's
Yeah.
okay. Time goes by fast when you're having a lot of fun. And I'm truly enjoying this season thus far. As I told
Yeah.
Dustin in a previous review, I think this might be my favorite season of 90 Day Fiance that we've ever covered before. I do like a majority of these couples. Watching 90 Day Fiance, you sort of kind of see the writings on the wall and see where certain storylines are going to go. But we'll
Yes.
get all into that once we get into the review. But a couple of things I want y'all to do before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big
Mm.
subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to mash that thing. So go ahead and mash it for a brother. Also, be
Yes.
sure to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Also, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the various couples we're discussing on this evening's review. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. Couple of announcements really quickly. Tomorrow, I will be releasing my reviews for the Real Housewives of Potomac, as well as Married to Medicine. So be on the lookout for those being released tomorrow. Dustin, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm here. As you guys know, guys know, I'm going through some things, and next, I'm going to have some procedures. Possibly have some procedures in the new year.
Okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
okay.
Mm. Yeah. The plan.
We'll definitely keep you in prayer, Dustin, for sure, per
Thank you,
usual.
brother.
Dustin said hi to everyone. And then we got Auntie Robin, who's in the comments as well. Hello, Auntie Robin. So glad that you have joined us this evening. And Auntie Robin says, good evening, folks. Good evening to you, Auntie Robin. And then Auntie Robin also has another comment here. Let me pull it up here to see what else Auntie Robin said. Auntie Robin also said, I'm liking more of these couples too. Yeah, Auntie Robin, I think this is going to be a great season. And I'm really liking the way things are going. The couples don't seem to be as problematic, and the issues that they're having don't seem to be as big as other issues that we've seen in previous
Yeah.
seasons. But let's start out with a new participant that we were introduced to on this episode, Lisa. Lisa is 52 years old. She's from King of Persia, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania. And she's had a lengthy past with men. She's been married, I think she said 3 times in the past to men. And then she lived her life as a lesbian for a little over, I think she said almost 20 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
And she married
Red flag. That's a red flag to me. So that is what. Yeah. That's
yeah,
a red flag.
she married a woman twice, or two different women on 2 different occasions, and she's in a relationship with a man from Nigeria. His name is Daniel. Daniel is, I believe, in his 30s, if I'm not mistaken. And she's ready to meet him. I'm assuming she's going to be meeting him in one of the upcoming episodes. I've seen a lot of red flags about Lisa.
Mm.
She seems to be, she said that she cut her hair for a former partner. Now, she's got, plenty, I wouldn't say plenty of hair, but she's got quite a bit of hair on her own, quite a bit of natural hair, but she likes to wear wigs because she misses her long hair. But she's going to an adult store with her daughter to pick out condoms. Now, I don't, and she doesn't want latex condoms because she's allergic to latex. But,
So am
her
I.
daughter seems to be very uncomfortable with going to an adult store with her mother, which I agree with. We saw Forrest going to an adult store in the first episode to
Mm.
pick out some things for his lady love. But for me, I would never feel comfortable going into an adult store with a parent of mine. I'm sorry, that's just
Mm.
not an area that I'm interested in going into. But Lisa goes out to dinner with her daughter and her best friend. She said if her best friend was a lesbian, they'd probably be in a relationship. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that she knows not to cross that line. Because if someone's not attracted to you, they're just not attracted to you. But Lisa's
So
daughter is feeling very apprehensive about her mother getting into another relationship because, as I've said, Lisa's been married a number of times, at least 5 times thus far. And it seems like she's not really lucky in love. Now, we haven't been able to see what Lisa's issues are in relationships, and I'm assuming that it will be on full display during her appearance on Before the 90 Days. And so there's really not much to say necessarily about Lisa at this point. But what are your feelings on Lisa so far, Dustin?
I don't like her.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't. I don't think that she's going to be the best person to be on 90 Day Fiance. I don't like her point blank in the period. I don't. I don't understand why they put her on the show. To be honest, I don't see what she's going to bring. I don't see what she's going to bring to the show in the future episodes. I just don't. I don't like her, and that's just my opinion about that.
Yeah, I don't have much of a problem with Lisa necessarily. I don't think I've had enough time to really see what she's all about just yet. I'm glad that she's still out there looking for love. But if you've been married more than twice, at least in my opinion, you might be the common denominator in the issues. That's not to say that the partner in those relationships had no wrong in the relationship, but I mean, it makes me feel like Lisa might be an issue when it comes to being in a relationship. And, that's, I
Especially when
guess,
you've been married. Especially when you've been married that many times. Mm.
exactly. It makes you think that, you
It's a
might
red
be an
flag to
issue.
me.
Right. It is a big red flag for me. I love the fact that Lisa's daughter loves her so much and is looking out for her mother's best interest. I do love that. I really didn't like the way Lisa was trying to force time with her daughter on camera after her daughter left the table. They were at a hibachi place, which is one of my favorite places to go. I love to have hibachi. But
Yeah.
she her daughter was upset. She really didn't want to have the conversation about her mother going to get into another relationship. Lisa's daughter said that she's been moved around plenty of times due to her mother's relationships in the past, and she doesn't want to see her mother get hurt. And I understand that, and I cannot imagine being in a position where one of my parents is out looking for love and they have the type of track record in relationships that Lisa has. And because they're your parent, you're automatically attached to them, and you really can't say to your parent, well, don't tell me about your relationship because I know how it typically goes, because that can venture into the territory of being, excuse me, disrespectful to your parent. You never want to do that. But I understand why Lisa's daughter does not want to have to go through this yet again. And so, I appreciate Lisa's apology to her daughter, about all that she's put her daughter through. Not I'm going to assume that that was a sincere apology. I'm hoping that that was a sincere apology. But I love the fact that Lisa's daughter is looking out for her mother's best interest. We saw in the preview for the next episode that Daniel went to some type of witch doctor of some sort. He was rolling dice and he was asking about Lisa coming over and asking this person who I guess could see the future in a way by looking at these random objects on the ground. He's asking him if this woman is going to be right for her. And I have a feeling that the answer he's going to get is not necessarily going to be a good answer or the answer that
I
he's
agree.
looking for. But, anyways, we'll see what happens with Lisa and Daniel as we move on through the rest of the season. I don't have the highest of hopes for them necessarily, but
I don't
we'll
either.
see where it goes from here. But let's move on to Aviva and Stig. So Aviva is going to Belize to be with Stig. Stig is a quite a big artist in Belize. I'm not much of a fan of international music myself, but we saw the crowds at his performances, so he's obviously has a quite a big fan base in Belize, and it's great to see him doing his thing. It seems like he loves doing what he does. He went out with his producer and his manager, and he's telling them he's going to settle down, and they're like, they're used to him being a playboy. You know what I'm saying? And that's not surprising to me whatsoever. With Stig being only 30 years old, Aviva herself is 26 years old. So I love an age appropriate couple. That's not to say I have anything against couples who have a big gap in their ages,
Mhm.
but I personally like to see couples who are closer in age. That's just my preference. I don't mind seeing those who have an age gap necessarily, because those relationships do work too in their own regard. But I prefer to see couples who are closer in age. But Aviva is when she meets Stig for the first time, they do have a nice kiss, and Stig initially says that Aviva has a big backside, a big booty, a big behind, and I was like, I don't necessarily see it, but okay. But at the end of their segment, when she changed into her lingerie, into her lingerie, and she turned to the side, I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, she does have a big bottom. I'm not going to assume that she's had any plastic surgery. He hasn't mentioned that as a possibility. She hasn't mentioned that as a possibility. So we're just going to assume that it's all natural. But
Yeah.
she does have a nice body. And I like that lingerie that she was wearing for Stig. I'm not sure necessarily with Stig and Aviva where I'm assuming that their issues are going to stem from Stig's professional work, and the fact that he might have a lot of groupies, a lot of women coming to his shows. He said that, at one show, he had a woman at his show that was trying to grab on his private parts. And, I've seen videos like that on YouTube before of fans trying to grab the private parts of of a male artist. So I know that it does happen out here. And when you're on the front row and the artist is standing right in front of you, it's sort of kind of easy to just reach up and, try to touch it. But anyways, Stig seems to be committed to Aviva thus far. He does seem to want to settle down with Aviva at this point. Now, whether his actions are going to prove otherwise is yet to be seen. But I want to have high hopes for Aviva and Stig. I think they make a beautiful couple. I'm sure they're going to make lots of love on this night that they're, together. Stig said that he's going to kind of hold off on the sex, but when she came out in that lingerie, I'm thinking that his mind might have changed concerning that. They're staying in a hotel in Belize, and they say, I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this couple. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Stig and Aviva so far?
I enjoy the couple so far, but I think that I agree with what you said. I think that most of the issues is going to be his work schedule and the work issues. I think she's gonna have a rough time adapting to his work schedule and adapting to the way he is when he works. But as she says, she can't control that part, and I hope she realizes that he's doing it for working, and only that. I hope for the best on all these couples, but I just hope that she realizes what she's getting herself into, and also as he as well.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship with an artist, your trust has to be on an extremely high level because you have to be able to trust that your partner is going to be able to say no to the many, many, many advances that will come their way. And when you are a public figure in any capacity, that is something that you would have to worry about. Many people who might be attracted to you, reaching out to you for certain things and things of that nature. There's you got to have that trust there. And it seems like
Right,
Aviva does have trust in Stig thus far. I don't know if Stig has done anything to make her not trust him thus far. Besides the fact that
sure,
her aunt was telling her that Stig did a performance, and he has a song with the name of the song being the name of a particular woman, and that woman in particular actually being at that show where he performed it at. Aviva seems to be putting that to the side for now, and I think Aviva wants to kind of gauge Stig's responsibility as far as being in a relationship with her. She wants to gauge it on her own, and I appreciate that for her, and I respect her for making that decision and not just going off of making an assumption based off of something that her aunt told her in the previous
right.
episode. We got Lady Virgo in the building. Lady Virgo says good evening to everyone. Good evening, Lady Virgo. So glad that you've joined us. Thank you so much for being here, my love. And also, thank you, Lady Virgo, for commenting on my other videos as well. And I did comment back to you
Thank you,
also.
Lady
So
Virgo.
shout
Thank you
out
for
to
being
Lady
here, Lady
Virgo.
Virgo.
So I have high hopes for Stig. Absolutely. I have high hopes for Stig. And as I was telling Dustin before we went live a little bit earlier, I like Aviva a lot. I think she has a great heart, a great personality. It seems like she genuinely does have feelings for Stig. And she wants to be in love. And, to me, she doesn't act like she's only 26. To me, she acts like she's sort of kind of in her 40s. Like she seems to be very mature. And I think Stig might run into a problem with her on that end because Stig is still acting like he's in his early 20s and he's now 30. But because of his lifestyle and because of his job, I sort of kind of come to expect that from him. So I just hope that Stig doesn't break Aviva's heart. I hope that they have
I
a
hope
great
not either,
relationship
Johnson.
to show. So let's move on to our next couple. We have Birkin and we also have Laura. I'm not feeling the best about this couple necessarily. Laura, I don't like. We haven't seen any footage of them, FaceTiming or talking to each other at all. So I don't know where the chemistry is going to come from with Birkin and Laura. I excuse me, and I have a feeling that just for me as a viewer, that I will have a hard time finding the chemistry between them
I
because
don't see no chemistry. I don't see
right
none. I don't see none.
With Laura being 47 and Birkin being 26, that age gaps are an issue in themselves. Like, and we know what issues age gaps will bring up in a relationship. And I just don't know what to say about them. Lady Virgo says down in the comments to JoJo Speaks and Dustin Butler, as well as Auntie Robin, good evening. Safe and
Good
blessed
evening, Lady
holidays
Virgo.
to you all. Blessed and safe holidays to you as well, Lady Virgo. Love you, my love. I feel like I just have to see more when it comes to Birkin and Laura. Birkin clearly has an issue with Laura's friend Michael. He doesn't trust that they are only friends, which I understand that assumption. It's not that men and women cannot have platonic friends. I mean, my sister Jennifer, prophetic fire Reiki, she's had male friends all of her life. Like she's had, and so that you can have a platonic relationship with someone of the opposite sex if you were heterosexual. It's just that I understand why Birkin has these assumptions concerning Laura and Michael's relationship, because I think Birkin has the idea that Michael is sexually attracted to Laura. And he's clearly right in that assumption because we saw scenes between Laura and Michael in the first two episodes. And Michael clearly has some deep, 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 deep feelings for Laura. And the fact that Laura is considering bringing Michael over to Birkin's country to meet him. He is from Turkey. He's from Turkey. The fact that she wants Michael to join her in her quest to Turkey to meet Birkin, I don't think that's a good idea. I have a feeling that they're just doing it for drama's sake. But if Laura truly wants her relationship with Birkin to be a good one, I don't think that she should bring Michael to Turkey with her to meet Birkin. I don't know why Michael needs to come with her on this trip to meet Birkin. I personally don't understand it, other than the fact that she's on 90 Day Fiance and she possibly wants to have Michael there just for drama's sake. And me personally, I can't respect that at all. Dustin, what are your thoughts as far as Birkin and Laura are concerned?
I don't think it's gonna work out because I don't think she's gonna get the get she's gonna I don't think it she's gonna work out with him because of them her ex and her are too close together to me, and I don't think it's gonna work out because of that. I don't think she's gonna change that. Hmm.
Yeah. I hope that they could have a decent relationship. Birkin says that there are a couple things that he has not told Laura yet concerning his business acumen after he tore his ACL while playing. I believe he was playing soccer, or as they call it, football. He thought that he was going to have a career in that, but unfortunately, he had a career-ending injury, and so he can only play for fun now, but he can't play professionally, which is, of course, a sad thing, because if you're putting all your eggs in that sports basket and you have an injury like that, what do you do next? And the businesses that he started up after his injury, they didn't work out. I'm not sure why he feels as though Laura wouldn't take that very well, or I don't know why he thinks that she would have a bad reaction to that actually happening to him. But I mean, I guess we'll see where it goes from there. But once again, like I hope that I'm hoping that they have chemistry that we can see ourselves, but I'm not sure if that might necessarily happen. Lady Virgo says down in the comments to Dustin, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you too, Lady Virgo. Love you, girl.
Appreciate it, Lady Virgo.
Um, So yeah, we'll see if we are actually able to see the chemistry between Birkin and Laura, because I have a feeling it's going to be hard to find that between those two. But let's move on to our last couple, Rick and Trisha. So
Yeah.
Rick and Trisha are in Madagascar. They're walking through the markets where there's fresh. Well, I don't know if there's fresh meat, if the meat was necessarily fresh, but they see a lot of meat being sold, and he's seeing a lot of parts of animals that he wasn't expecting to be sold on the streets. And Rick is he's a little apprehensive. I'm assuming that he won't be buying any of that meat for himself to cook and consume on his
Huh.
own. But
I would have been a little apprehensive as well, Jonathan. I don't like to see that. So, mm-mm. I don't like to see
yeah,
that kind of.
if
Mm-mm.
the meat is not packaged, I'd have some reservations about picking that up and spending money on that, and actually moving forward to eat said meat on the side of the road. Like it's if and
Yeah.
I know, I understand that that's how people who live in those countries, that's how they get their food. It's just that when we in America are used to food being sold in a certain way, when you go to another country and it's served a different way, you might be a little apprehensive about it. And that's just who I am. I'm a little bit, stuck up in that way, I guess. But anyway, so he sees Trisha dancing for the first time, and they're doing a little bit of dancing. And Rick says, he knows about tap, but he doesn't know about the dancing that they're doing. And Trisha's got some moves on her, and Rick is seemingly very much in love with Trisha. However, this whole thing of Trisha, going ghost on him for, I think he said 5 days, if I'm not mistaken, where he could not get in touch with her. And he wants the truth from Trisha. What were you doing on those days when you were ghosting me? He said that she was declining his call. Trisha denied that she was declining his call, but, Rick is standing 10 toes down on it. And Trisha, she goes on to reveal to Rick that her ex-boyfriend got robbed, and her ex-boyfriend was blaming Trisha for the robbery. I'm not exactly sure how he was able to come to that conclusion, but that's the conclusion that he came to anyways. And
Mhm.
she said there was some issues with money and things of that nature. She didn't want to have to tell Rick about it because she didn't want him to feel as though he was obligated to help her out and things of that nature. And Rick had assumed that Trish was out there cheating on him. But before I move on, Lady Virgo says down in the comments, Jojo speaks. Jojo, did you upload your Potomac and Married to Medicine review videos yet? I was looking for them. No, not yet, Lady Virgo. I'll be releasing those videos tomorrow. So be on the lookout for those videos tomorrow. More than likely, they'll be up before 2 p.m. Don't quote me on that, but they should be up before 2 p.m. I did watch both of those shows earlier today, so I'll be putting my reviews out for those shows tomorrow. But thank you for being on the lookout for those, Lady Virgo. I appreciate you,
By the way,
girl.
the and by the way, they're great reviews. So keep it up, Jonathan. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dustin. I appreciate that. I really do. So Trisha reveals to Rick the reason why she had ghosted him, and he's very understanding of that. Because she seemingly has had no issue receiving money from him prior. So I don't know if I necessarily believe Trisha's explanation for her ghosting him.
I don't.
And as you've said, Dustin, in the past, it seems like Trisha is a little bit too close to her ex-boyfriend. And I have a feeling that there are still some lingering feelings between the two. And
Sure.
I do have a strong feeling that we'll get into those feelings a little bit
Hmm.
later on in the season. And I hope that Trisha's ex-boyfriend makes an appearance, because I have a
And I
feeling that
hope that we
Rick is
find
going
out.
to want to have.
I, I feel like we're gonna find out why she got arrested in the show. Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she got arrested.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she got arrested.
Wow.
So we're gonna find out.
Yikes. Oh my god. Maybe that was the story that you said that you were going to send to me last week. What was that, the story you were going to send to me, Dustin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. No,
Hmm.
well, we'll see if it happened during filming. I'm sure we'll see, some type of evidence of her getting arrested. But Rick then reveals to the producer during the confessionals, that while she was ghosting him, he unfortunately met up with a woman. I believe he said in Colombia, if I'm not mistaken, a woman that he was previously in a relationship with. And the producer asked them, and the Lady Virgo says down in the comments, "Thanks, Jojo." JoJo and Dustin. You're very welcome, Lady Virgo. And then it
Thank
looks
you.
like we have another comment here from Tyrone. Unveil vibrations. Give me just a second. Let me pull up Tyrone's comment here.
Yeah.
Tyrone says, "Good evening, everyone. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Stay blessed and safe throughout the holiday season." Thank you so much, Tyrone, for making an appearance. Love you, brother.
Every time
And
around,
so
hopefully,
Rick
hopefully
reveals
see you on
to
Wednesday.
the Absolutely. So Rick reveals to the producers that he cheated on Trisha with his ex from Colombia. And the producer, goes on to ask, "Did you have sex?" And he said, "Absolutely. We had sex multiple times a day."
Right.
And so I have a feeling that this is going to absolutely crush Trisha. I don't know if this is going to allow her to be more open about what she was doing while she had ghosted him. I have a feeling
Mm-hmm.
that that might not happen, but I think Trisha is going to be tempted to break up with him. Now, if her plan is to move to America for a better life, I have a feeling that she's not going to leave Rick. But if she does not care about that and she's only in it strictly for love, I think she's going to break up with him. But I'm not expecting that to happen. So, Dustin, what were your thoughts on Trisha's reasoning for ghosting Rick? And what are your thoughts on Rick revealing to us that he cheated on Trisha?
Well, I expected that last week, so I'm not really surprised to hear it. But I think that we're gonna have a interesting season on Trisha because I want to see what Trisha has for the rest of the season. Like I said, I want to see if they have the story about her getting arrested on the show. Because I don't know if they cut it or not, but she got arrested during I think it was during filming. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that one.
And how do you think Trish is going to react to Rick revealing to her that he cheated on her? Because they're on the show and he spoke to the producers about it, so he has to bring it up to her. So, what do you think her reaction is going to be?
She's not going to handle it well, and to be honest, I wouldn't handle it well either if it was me either. Hmm.
Right. Yeah. I would not handle it well myself. To me personally, I've never been in an actual relationship before, but cheating for me will be a no-go. That's going to
Right.
be a deal breaker for me.
Correct.
Mainly because after you tell me you cheated on me, all I'm going to be thinking about in my head is you having sex with someone who's not me. And I
Right.
don't know if I could live with myself in that type of space. Lady Virgo says to unveil vibrations. Same to you. Happy holidays to you and your family. Y'all so lovely in the comments. I love that. But yeah, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take for Rick to tell Trisha that he cheated on her, but hopefully is sooner than later. But I have a feeling he's going to put it off for a really long time. But the producers might push him to do it a little bit earlier than he's actually planning to do. So we'll see what happens when that comes about. But that's all
Right.
we've got for this review. Dustin, why don't you give the people your social media contacts real quick before we get out of here?
My social media contacts are Dustin Butler. My Facebook, my Instagram is Dustin Butler 700. And I want to thank Jonathan and my whole entire team for always being here, as you always learn. I appreciate it very much. Hope you guys have a happy holidays weekend. I know that Jonathan is probably going to be off on Thursday, so he probably no show on Thursday, if I'm correctly. Probably no show on Thursday, so won't be back till next week. Hmm.
Absolutely, yes. I will not be going live on Thursday. Thank you so much for saying that, Dustin, because I should have announced that at the beginning of the video. Yes, I will not be going live this Thursday. This Thursday is Christmas Day. So I hope all of you have a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. Next week we'll be getting into 2026, which I cannot believe, y'all. 2025. It didn't go by nearly as fast as 2024 did for me. But I feel as though it has been a good year. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is WilliamJonathanLee@gmail.com. And my Cash App is $JonathanLee07. That's $JonathanLee07. I want to thank all of you guys, Auntie Robin, Lady Virgo, as well as Unveil Vibrations for being down there in the comments with us. We love you guys for watching. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces for our review on episode 4 of 90 Day Fiance
Yeah.
season, before the 90 days, season 8, episode 4. Love you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Bye,
Love
guys.